welcome to our English News Bulletin broadcast to you from Canal, Algérie. First, to the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, receives the U.S. Deputy Secretary of State, Wendy Sherman. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, appoints Mohammed Ma'moun Al-Qasimi Al-Husseini, Rector of the Algiers Great Mosque, with the rank of Minister. And tension keeps mounting in Morocco as teachers take to the streets to denounce the unfair social system in the kingdom. Good evening, those were today's top stories. First, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received on Thursday in Algiers the U.S. Deputy Secretary of State, Wendy Sherman. The audience took place in the presence of the Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad Minister, Ramtan Al-Amamra, and the Principal Private Secretary of the Presidency, Abdelaziz Khalaf, as well as the General Manager of North America, Department of Foreign Affairs Ministry, Mohammed Barrah. Following the audience, the U.S. Deputy Secretary of State, Wendy Sherman, made the following statement, during which she highlighted the necessity to further upgrade the bilateral cooperation.
It is wonderful to be back in Algiers for my first visit as Deputy Secretary of State, and I'm so delighted to be standing here with your Foreign Minister, with our Ambassador, and I want to sincerely thank President Tebboune for his hospitality and warm welcome. We just concluded a very productive meeting. The President shared with me his plans to create more jobs and diversify Algeria's economy into strategic sectors, including agribusiness, information communications technology, and clean energy. These are areas where U.S. businesses can work closely with Algeria. For instance, just last week, a delegation of U.S. small businesses in wind energy, wastewater treatment, and oil services visited Algeria. The United States and Algeria both want to increase trade and economic cooperation with each other. We are thrilled and honored that the President plans to visit the U.S. Pavilion during the Algiers International Fair this June, where the United States will be the country of honor. Our meeting also covered some important regional issues, and I look forward to continuing the discussion I also began with the Foreign Minister earlier today. The United States and Algeria agree that regional stability is key to a peaceful and prosperous future for the entire Sahel. Both of our countries are concerned about the destabilizing presence of foreign forces and are working together to counter violent extremist groups. I also reaffirmed the Biden-Harris administration's commitment to human rights, including media freedom and religious freedom. The United States' relationship with Algeria is broad and deep, and we look forward to continue to further deepen our cooperation on jobs and economic development, clean energy, security, and other areas.
In another development, and after consultations with Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, appointed on Thursday Mohammed Ma'moun Al-Qasimi Al-Husseini, the Rector of Jama' Al-Jazair, or Algiers Great Mosque, with the rank of Minister, according to a communiqué released by the Presidency of the Republic. Following talks and consultations with Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, terminated on Thursday the duties of the Transport Minister, Issa Bekkay, who made a serious mistake while accomplishing his mission. The President of the Republic then tasked Kamal Nasri as acting Transport Minister. Let's delve now in the realm of history with this distinguished ceremony held in France to honor the famous Italian journalist Bernardo Valli, a friend of the glorious Liberation War, a lofty move decided by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune. Laetitia Sidqawi has the full story.
le président de la République, M. Abdelmajid Tebboune, décerne la médaille des Amis de la Révolution algérienne au journaliste italien M. Bernardo Valli.
And that is for a good reason. While being barely 24 years old, Bernardo Valli, a journalist in Il Giorno, has already covered in his career 2 wars, including Indochina War. He was at the time in Congo to follow the process of independence, and by chance he found himself in the glorious Liberation War. At a certain moment, the French services of information in Algeria wanted to get rid of Italian journalists. They sent threats pretending to be the FLN. The journalists left. I wasn't here at the time. However, a journalist from the newspaper I worked in Il Giorno, stayed. A media blackout that the colonial system wanted to impose in all means. Many journalists paid the price for this censorship, especially during the 2 tours of General de Gaulle in Algeria. French journalists who were supportive of the revolution were the first victims. While on the plane with General de Gaulle, a policeman approached Jean Daniel, telling him that there were no more places. I told the policeman that I gave Jean Daniel my place, but the policeman said no. Aside from the important events on the Algerian territory, it's the doctrine of FLN that Bernardo was fascinated by, crossing the borders of Tunisia. The relations with FLN were very intense in Tunisia. We were in the same hotels, in the same restaurants. We practically lived together, so we had the same political aspect and ideology with the exiled or with the FLN men working in Tunisia. One of the most remarkable images for Bernardo in his memory are the images of Algiers after the Evian Accords. The French responsibles have practically disappeared. In March, when the FLN returned, there were no more French, including in the press. Bernardo still remembers the Algiers famous battle, which jolted the French occupiers and encouraged the young talented journalist to cover other wars across the world. But the Algerian Revolution remains the most remarkable in his long career, since it changed all his vision in his full career.
The upcoming Arab Summit will be officially held in Algiers on the 1st and 2nd of November 2022, as suggested by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, a symbolic date coinciding with Algeria's Liberation War anniversary. This awaited summit is meant to close ranks, avert division, and work out a new policy. More details in this in-depth report compiled by Melissa Kebash.
The President's decision to hold the Arab Summit was adopted by the Arab Foreign Affairs Ministers during an ordinary session held in Cairo. The Arab Summit will be held on November 1st and the 2nd in Algiers, coinciding with the 68th anniversary of our glorious November Revolution. This historical date denotes the attachment of the Arab states to the values of common struggle for independence, especially in the face of the growing challenges dictated by dangerous tensions at the international level. The upcoming summit will allow leaders to take the necessary decisions so as to face the local, regional, and international issues and challenges.
Algeria plays an important role in this Arab summit. At both regional and Arab levels, Algeria has a great history which allowed it to contribute in settling many conflicts. We need the presence of Algeria because, unfortunately, the Arab world is going through several crises. Therefore, we are optimistic about the holding of this summit.
Numerous issues will be addressed during this summit, namely the Syrian, Yemen, Libyan, and the Renaissance Dam issue. The Palestinian issue, going through difficult times, will be high on the agenda of this summit as well. Algeria will spare no effort to consolidate the Palestinian national unity on the basis of the President's important approach of coordination with his Palestinian counterpart, Mahmoud Abbas, to implement the initiatives of other countries.
His Highness the Prince gave very clear instructions so as to support Algeria during the next Arab Summit, a decision which was reaffirmed during a meeting with the representative of His Highness the Prince. Kuwait will be among the first participants and the last to leave Algeria.
By adopting this decision to hold the Arab Summit on November the 1st, the Arab world is getting ready for an important political meeting. with the aim of opening new perspectives for the joint Arab action. The summit will also constitute an opportunity to celebrate with the Algerian and Arab people the glories of this nation and concentrate their efforts to work out a perspective vision that allows the Arab region to re-establish itself at the international level.
The holding of this summit was announced by the Arab League Secretary General Ahmed Abul Ghaith during a press conference. Let's have a listen to him, hailing Algeria's vision and efforts to ensure the success of this event.
Algeria's intention to hold the upcoming Arab League Summit on November the 1st and the 2nd shows its enthusiasm. They usually provide us with good ideas to face up the ongoing challenges. What the Algerian president has said is transmitted to the Arab ministers via Algeria's foreign affairs minister. The Arab League received with great enthusiasm Algeria's proposal. The consultative meeting bringing together the president and the foreign affairs ministers, not held for a long time, will be a good move for more efficiency for an Arab common work.
Concerning the parliamentary activity, the Council of the Nation held a plenary session on Thursday, chaired by the President of the Council, Salah Goudil. This session was dedicated to oral questions related to the sectors of interior, agriculture, public works, water resources, and water security. Moving on to economy, an African business fair is being held in Oran province, a fair which brought together 17 African countries and 45 economic operators in a space full of inter-African entrepreneurship opportunities. It is Yasset Qawi with more details.
Multiple opportunities for partnership between Algeria and other African countries. More and more Algerian businessmen aim to invest in Africa, a market considered very promising. The African Business Fair, which brings together 17 African countries and 45 Algerian economic operators, is timely for its investors. Our main objective is to export to African countries such as Libya, Mauritania and Tanzania. For the moment, we have a factory in Tanzania and showrooms in Egypt and Senegal. African institutions and Algerian economic operators display their products and services to highlight the opportunities in the future. It is an opportunity for our companies and for Algerian companies to be able to maintain entrepreneurship and to envisage useful entrepreneurship opportunities in the future. I was able to witness the dynamic that is implemented by the authorities and by the Algerian business world to build a good relationship and to create favorable conditions for inter-African exchanges. It is an opportunity for us to make Tunisian products known and discover Algerian products. We also plan to develop new areas of cooperation, first with Algerians and with African companies. A forum of businessmen and representatives of bodies of the participating countries is also organized on the sidelines of the show with the aim of exchanging visions concerning the development of the African continent.
In Morocco, teachers continue their strikes against a backdrop of the Moroccan security forces' exactions. The Education Ministry is called upon to find a solution to the current crisis as soon as possible. Melissa Kabash has the details.
The teachers' strikes continue across the Moroccan territories, while the parents keep denouncing this situation, calling on the Education Ministry to assume its responsibilities and find a solution to the current crisis as soon as possible. Hundreds of fixed contract teachers took to the streets, namely in front of the Education Academy in Marrakesh, protesting against the contract system that has been imposed on them, as well as the attitude of their supervisory ministry. reiterating their determination to continue their protest movements till their demands are accomplished. The same atmosphere prevailed in the city of Nadur, where new permanent teachers are expressing their anger under the Moroccan security forces' threats, calling for their integration. We are protesting here at the headquarters of the academy, refusing abuse and repression exercised against teachers. The teachers on whom they imposed the contracts will not stop their demonstrations until finding a solution. We are also protesting in solidarity with our colleagues in Rabat who were arrested and some even injured during the repression of a peaceful demonstration in front of the Educational Ministry. The trial of 45 teachers arbitrarily arrested recently during peaceful demonstration have been brought before justice, which caused the launch of other demonstrations in front of Moroccan courts, denouncing what they termed as fictional trial. The protest movement in Morocco affected other sectors as well, notably that of Broad Halier, which decided to join this protest movement to voice their refusal of fuel prices rise.
Let us now discover the National School of Preservation of Cultural Goods of Tipaza Province. This school, which will be planning its 10th anniversary celebration, is under the tutelage of the Higher Education and Culture Ministries. Let's find out more about it with our field reporter Leticia Sidqawi.
To promote higher education and scientific research in relation to the evolution of technologies in the conservation and restoration of cultural property. This is the primary vocation of the National School of Conservation and Restoration of Cultural Property. We study objects in museology. It is the presentation of objects in the inventory of objects, which means from the arrival of the object in a museum, we study its journey until its exhibition. They come from all over the country. They are architects and archaeologists, and they all aspired to get a master's degree. The fact that I grew up in Tipaza made me love to discover and to touch the ground. This unique school in Algeria and in the Maghreb has several structures, including a library and a laboratory operating with the help of new technologies. Among the works that the students ask for is the book of Cesar Brandy, Theory of Restoration. It is a basis of this whole specialty. There is another, the restoration of metal antiques, which is also very important. The leader returns on the creation of this school placed under dual supervision, cultural and higher education. The school had from 2012 to 2016 around 60 students that graduated in the field of conservation and restoration. It should be noted that we are more focused on quality training than quantity. The National School of Preservation celebrates this year 10 years since its creation. A celebration is previewed on the sidelines of Heritage Month in April.
And with this, our today's news edition comes to a close. Thank you for joining us.